Next person is Alan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alan Stone. I'm a chemical engineering student. I'm a junior right now. I'm specializing in materials and polymers. Originally, I was from Newark, New Jersey. Right now on campus, I'm a boiler mentor for people who receive the Emerging Leadership Scholarship. And I'm also an undergraduate TA for first year engineering courses. Fun fact is I have 5 other siblings. We have a big family. And I enjoy watching movies, reading, and hiking in my spare time, though hiking's kind of gone down now with COVID and everything.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abraham Vendretti. I am a senior in multidisciplinary engineering here at Purdue with a concentration in engineering management. And I also have a minor in management to go along with that concentration. I grew up in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Some of my former leadership here on campus, I don't currently hold any leadership position, but some of the former ones include the MEP conference planning chair. I served as that for a year, and I was also the action coordinator for Spark for about 3 years. Fun facts about me, I used to have a pet rooster named Molly. Don't ask me why I named him Molly. And some of my hobbies include swimming, playing tennis, and traveling.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade Woodson. My major is civil engineering. I forgot to put my concentration, but it's construction engineering. And I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Current leadership that I hold is I'm the president of Boiler Give Back, and I'm also the outreach liaison for Boiler Tracks. A very fun fact about me is I love sketching and painting, and then hobbies that I have is cooking, also sketching again, and then I love collecting shoes.
Awesome. Well, I think that is pretty much everyone. So to get started, I think we have a couple people on the call. First of all, welcome. We're excited to kind of share our experiences with you guys and how it's been for us at Purdue. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to step in and stop me or even raise your hand. I'm able to see if you guys do that. So that way we can make sure that we're answering things that you are interested in. I do have a set of questions that I probably will use as a shell. But then again, we really want to answer specific questions that you guys might have for us. And feel free, right? So I know Mr. Williams is here, but traditionally, whenever we have these panels, we're usually super, super transparent with you guys with any questions that you may have, not just academically. We cover social aspects, organizational aspects, and etc. And even if you just want to know about the climate at Purdue, what is it like being a minority student at Purdue, or what is it like being a minority student in your classes? We can definitely assist you in answering some of those questions. So to start out, I'm going to kind of cherry pick. Panelists, you guys can kind of, I guess, just switch off questions, whichever you feel like applies most to you, or if you feel like you have a valid or important point that you want to bring up, please feel free to jump in. So my very, very first question that I have for you guys is, what can I do during the summer to prepare myself for entering the first year engineering program?
I'll answer that. You can, a student can register for the MEP Academic Bootcamp. I don't know what the bootcamp will look like summer of next year, but I know bootcamp definitely helped me get ready for the rigor of what my freshman year classes were going to bring. And I think if it wasn't for bootcamp, I probably would not have had as a successful of a freshman year as I did. So definitely recommend that if it's available.
Yeah, off of what Abraham said, bootcamp is definitely a great option. And then sort of something that like bootcamp teaches you that if you don't do bootcamp, you can always like work on is time management. That's probably one of the biggest things that you can work on either over the summer or like right now, because time management is a really, really important thing during college. You have to plan all your classes and all your homeworks and stuff like that, and trying to get everything situated. And so that's something that you should really try to work on over the summer.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, time management is super important. I trust you guys are all very smart. But I think about 80% of like any college success is being able to manage your time, when to study, keeping on top of your assignments and all of that. So if you can learn how to create and maintain a schedule, you're already 80% of the way there.
My advice would be to get a planner. That's how I'm good with making sure that I know like what I'm supposed to do for like classes, organizations, when to sleep, when to eat, because college is pretty busy. So my suggestion would be just get a planner.
Awesome. So it sounds like for the most part, organization seems to be the theme for most of you guys. I would say I'm curious to know, what resources did you guys utilize when you guys did get here for first year engineering to be successful in your classes?
For me, I used every single tutoring opportunity that I could. So whether that be the MEP tutoring room, or the TA's tutoring room, or the professor's tutoring room, or just the tutoring rooms for the specific schools. I used every single opportunity to actually go to those places, ask my questions, and try to figure out what I was missing, so I could sort of get ahead of the curve. So when everybody else was struggling on like a concept or something, I was already like a concept ahead, because I went specifically, even if I didn't have a question, I just wanted to learn more. And so I just went to those tutorial rooms, and those really helped me.
I'd say besides the tutorial rooms, I use the Academic Success Center's peer mentor program, peer success coach. That really helped me with accountability, and having someone who themselves had gone through the program before, and who know like basically some of the struggles that students face with certain classes. They also give you tips on like how to study, how to better manage your time again, and there are different like types of calendars that they have at their disposal for you to use to better track your time. And yeah, so I would recommend that anyone sign up for the ASC's Peer Success Coach program. It's free. You're a student here, so it's free to you, and it's gonna be great. You're definitely gonna love it.
And attend office hours. Every class has office hours for your professor and for the TAs in your class. And that's where you go to ask your questions, because most of, at least my classes, are lecture where the professor goes on and there isn't much back and forth. Office hours is where you go to ask questions about the homework or about any concepts you're confused about.
Yeah, I think going off of that, in high school, basically, what is taught in class is basically what you're supposed to know. So you know that, oh, if I was in class today, then I'll be able to do the homework that's assigned later. It is much different in college. Just because you attended lecture does not mean at all that you'll be able to complete the homework. So you have to go to those tutorial centers, you have to go to office hours, because if not, it's gonna be 11:58 and you're gonna still be trying to get that homework done. So
I would say try to ask as much questions as possible. Not every question is a dumb question. 9 times out of 10 in lecture, another person wants to ask the same question. They just don't know how to ask questions. Office hours are great. Always make sure that you talk to your professor, having a one-on-one conversation with your professor. Like, let's say in class you don't understand something, your professor can look at you and tell if you don't understand, and you being able to like have that conversation in that relationship with them, they would be able to help you on what you don't understand.
Great, thanks guys. So my next question is centered around your decision-making method for your specific major. So everyone knows, FYE is the traditional courses or semesters that you will have, where essentially everyone who will be mechanical, industrial, biomedical, chemical takes the same classes. Do you feel like you were equipped with the necessary tools to make your decision? And I think I really want you guys to touch base on, when you guys came in as freshmen, are you guys in the major that you thought that you came here for? And how did you come to that decision?
I'll go first. So I'm actually not in the major that I thought that I was going to be in. I really wanted to do industrial engineering. It was my first choice, but then civil was my second choice, and then I ended up switching it. The way that I found that I wanted to do civil was FYE. So basically, Engineering 131. They have like these like I would say like sessions where it tells you exactly like what the major is from like a higher standpoint up in the major climb ladder. So basically how that works is in that session they're gonna like break down to you like what that major directly is, and then they're gonna like have you like do like mini projects for it so you like understand what it is. So I love industrial. If I don't end up doing civil, I can switch to industrial still. But my way was just like going to those sessions because I knew that I didn't want to do mechanical, and I knew computer engineering wasn't for me either. But I was kind of like leveled out on which one I wanted to do, and I would say Engineering 131 helped me.
I can go. I'm not in the first, second, or third major that I envisioned myself being in. In high school, when I was in high school, I was like, I'm gonna do mechanical engineering because I loved doing 3D modeling, and I still do that sometimes in my spare time. But then in first year engineering, which is the classes I took were super mechanical engineering heavy, and I realized that it wasn't as fun or as cool as I thought it was. So I was like, okay, but then I still did my transition to major paperwork for mechanical engineering, and my second choice then was aerospace, because I wanted to work for an aerospace company, which I ended up doing after my freshman year. But as I was working at the aerospace company, the things came out and I was admitted into mechanical engineering. And by that time I was like, I don't want it anymore. I switched to computer engineering, and computer engineering was fun. I loved it. But as I was going through my different internships, I felt like computer engineering was not covering enough of what I was doing at work. So I switched over recently to multidisciplinary engineering, because with that, I am still able to pursue the majority of my computer engineering curriculum, but also add things like management. So I added a management minor as part of my multidisciplinary curriculum, and then I'm taking classes in project management. I'm now able to take classes in data analytics through our School of Computer Science. So I feel like I'm getting more of a more rounded and I'm covering more breadth, I guess, with what I'm studying now. So that's where I'm at.
I can add a little bit to that. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, for me, college was a bit of a journey. I also started out thinking I was going to be a mechanical engineer. I ended up finding, a mentor that kind of guided me towards chemical engineering, and then I found out that I just enjoy chemical engineering more. And they even putting me on the path for more school after my bachelor's, going to grad school and all that nonsense. So I'll never be done. But yeah, college is kind of a journey. Don't Most people I know change their path once they were actually in college to something that better suited them as opposed to what they thought they were going into from high school.
Yeah, going off of that, since I am a sophomore, this is my first like semester out of FYE, and so I am in mechanical engineering. So I might end up changing as well. Um, but as of right now, like Jade was saying about I was in the EPICS learning committee, so I took engineering 133, which is practically the same thing as engineering 131 and 132. So they just showed us, they had different sessions about the different engineering disciplines, and so we could go to those, the ones that we were interested in, and so we could, sort of dive deeper into the field and see what we wanted to do. And so I chose mechanical engineering because it's so broad, so I can sort of find something that I want to do in there. And so far it's been going well. And then I guess we're just going to see where it takes me from here.
Yeah, I think something that y'all should keep in mind was that perhaps what you see as a career, like us, like me and Diego, maybe like 10 years down the line, will have the same career. It at some point after you graduate, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to keep doing the thing that you went to college for. People change their career paths all the time, and it's much easier to do that after graduation. So don't sweat it while you're in college. Explore different major. You might end up be like, okay, I want the one that's easiest. If that's how you think, if that's how you process things, then go for it. Just try and do things that you enjoy, because you're gonna spend like 4 years here, maybe 5. You don't want them to be awful, so try and make them as easy as possible.
Yeah, thank you, panelists. So I actually have the same exact experience. It looks like all of us except for Diego. We're going to cross our fingers for you, Diego, that you don't change your major. But all of us have changed our major within the engineering disciplines. I started out chemical engineering, and I did not like it. And what drove my decision factor was internships. So I had 2 internships that were purely project and process engineering. And I realized that it was not for me. This is not what I wanted to do when I graduated. And typically, at least for chemical engineers, their entry-level positions are a little bit more streamlined, and I wanted an abyss of options. So industrial engineering gave me just that, so I decided that that was for me. And from then, I've had an opportunity in marketing, I've had opportunities in supply chain, I've had opportunities in mechanical engineering, and etc. So I really wanted to raise this question because you're not going to have it all figured out. You might feel like it coming out of high school, but you're not, and that's okay. You can have multiple conversations with various people, and you're going to have multiple experiences that are going to help you drive your decision. So I know yesterday I was on the admissions call, so I know a lot of you guys were talking about, you know, your first choice, second choice. You might not even graduate with your first choice or your second choice. So I really appreciate the answers from the panelists. I'm going to take a break from our question guide and open the floor to our students. If you guys have any questions from the conversations that we've been having so far, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask anything. I'll pause for about 2 minutes, and then if we don't get a question, I'll go ahead and proceed with our guide.
Can I do a question? All right, so what were the ways as freshmen in your freshman year, what were the ways that you find that can like create relationships? Because when we talk about freshmen, you're talking about someone that are coming from high school and going to a place where we don't know anyone, we are in a new place. So what were the ways that you find to create relationships, friendships, and that's etc.?
I can go. Freshman year is an exciting time. You're just moving to this new, I guess, stage of your life, and there are thousands of students who are doing the same too. So basically everyone is coming here, and even like some juniors who might have had senior friends who graduated, everyone's waiting for, it's like new year, new them. They're waiting to make new relationships, make new connections, and foster like better connections with people that they have already connected with. So it's reach out to people in your classes, in your dorm rooms, in your clubs, through MEP. There's a large MEP family, and we'll be more than likely to I'll be more than happy to welcome you all. So don't be afraid to, I guess, talk to people. If they ignore you, that's their problem. They definitely won't. So like, talk to your classmates, talk to the people on your floor. You'll realize that by the end of freshman year, you have way too many friends than you need.
Adding on to that, I found that most of the friends that I've, kept over the years of my time through college were friends I made when we were working together, whether it was like we were both part of the same club, or we're in the same research group, or we worked on the same project. Those are the people who, I've maintained friendships, and it's easy, and it's an excuse to talk to someone if they're in the same club or if they're doing the same thing you are doing.
I have a question regarding undergraduate research. What is it like to get a research opportunity? Because I'm kind of worried about that, since that's something I want to go into, and that's kind of what I want to do after college. There are 2 labs in particular that I really, really like the work. It's the SFPL and the PURPL. labs, and I was just wondering, like, these are two relatively large labs, and I was wondering if anyone's had experience or difficulties trying to get into these kinds of labs.
So I do a lot of undergraduate research. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. Um, General opportunities, there's plenty. Like if you want to just get into any lab and be able to do research, you shouldn't have an issue. If you want to get into specific labs, that depends on if there are openings or if they're even taking undergraduate researchers at that time, because not all labs are always taking in researchers. So that's something, if you want to know for sure, get in contact with literally anyone from the research group, because they'll guide you. Everyone inside my experience within like these research groups are very friendly and helpful. Just get in contact, reach out, let them know who you are, what your interests are, and they'll lead you from there.
Do we have any more questions?
I have one last question regarding internships. When I visited West Lafayette, it's relatively isolated area, and I was wondering if it's difficult to have any job placements for like regarding internships. I know a lot of places are remote. I know Caterpillar is in that relative area, and I was just wondering, is it difficult to place at an internship?
So I can speak a little bit towards that. No, it's not. So we have career fairs in place where companies that don't even have a plant in West Lafayette will come and visit and recruit. So you have an opportunity to showcase your talent, meet recruiters, introduce yourself to specific companies, really just practice what it's like to job search or intern search. So we have IR in the fall where we have over like 200 employers who come and they essentially recruit. This year it was virtual. So students were still able to leverage that opportunity to look for full-time jobs or internship opportunities. And then in the spring, we have Expo. And so Expo is usually a little bit smaller. However, still you're going to have more than 200 companies there to recruit essentially Purdue students. So from an internship standpoint or from a company standpoint, I don't think you'll have any issues. And in addition to that, you can always just apply online. So I've had 6 internships of the 5 years that I've been at Purdue. And I would say 2 of them I've gotten at IR, 2 I got at organization conferences, and I would say 1 I got from just applying blindly online. So there's definitely a lot of room and opportunity for you to pursue and find an internship. We also have our CCO, which is the Center for Career Opportunities, who can help you with placement if you are having a hard time. So I think from an internship perspective, Purdue definitely equips you with the necessary resources, and they also bring probably one of the best set of companies to come recruit at Purdue.
Yeah, just to add a little bit onto that. I mean, West Lafayette is small, but there are companies all around. So you might have. I've worked in with other cities in Indiana, in different states altogether. So the opportunities are endless. And talking back to what Najma said about the CCO, make sure you start going there early once you get there to start working on your resume, because your high school resume is not going to cut it. So make sure you get on that, work on a resume and potential on a cover letter, because there are so many companies who are looking for fresh talent like yourselves. So definitely take advantage of that. And Purdue has so many companies coming in. You'll definitely find one company or maybe 10 that you like.
I know you guys talked about the boot camp thing over the summer, but once you're there on campus, are there like tutoring opportunities?
I think the question was, are there other opportunities in addition to boot camp? Do you mean during the summer or during the academic school year?
During the school year.
Oh yeah, well, if it's tutoring opportunities, those are endless. Most of the majority, if not all of your freshman classes should have or will have some kind of tutoring being done, and that's sponsored by the college. MEP has tutoring for so many classes, spanning a vast amount of majors. And yeah, the ASC also has tutoring opportunities. So everywhere you turn, there will be tutoring opportunities. There's also the opportunity for private tutors if you can't find anything that's provided by the school or by a school organization. So that's also an option.
Yeah, going off that, just like giving an example, like one of my classes that I'm in right now has a 24-hour tutoring, like online virtual thing. So there's a TA like in there, like they have like a time slot for every 2 hours, and it goes 24 hours. And so that's just something that's really, really convenient that like anytime in any point in the day where you have like an issue or like a problem on one of the questions, and it's like maybe it's like 11:58 and your assignment's due in like 1 minute or something, and there's someone there that could actually help you.
Actually, a question about this. Do you think that the factor of the difference about the opportunities in the areas of engineering, do you think that it's one of the factors of changing majors?
So to clarify, is your question surrounding, I guess, does changing your major affect your opportunities, or are you saying was that a decision factor for us when we changed our majors?
It's like if the opportunities in the area of engineering can be a factor of changing majors.
I don't think so. So, okay. So I think what you're trying to ask is essentially, can changing majors have a negative effect on you? Is that more so where you're going towards? Or are you saying, can opportunities be limited because you change your major?
Or maybe if we're going perhaps literally, the opportunities that I was getting as an intern did shape, I guess, me finally switching into multidisciplinary engineering, if that's what the student is asking. Yeah, I was my first internship. I ended up doing mechanical design because I wanted to go into the aerospace industry and do mechanical. So I did mechanical design. But then after that, my second internship was in data science. My third internship was in solutions development. And then my fourth internship was in IT governance. So process oriented and like agile methodologies. So I felt like the last three internships I had were very different in themselves, but they all had this connection point that looking at computer engineering, I did not see that I was seeing that through computer engineering. But then looking at MDE, multidisciplinary engineering, I was like, okay, it has the project management aspect. It can have the data analytic aspect if I make it happen. And I can still keep most of my computer engineering curriculum to go with that. So I felt like my internship path ultimately ultimately led me to where I'm at now, if that answers the question.
Yeah, and just in case to make sure we touch all bases, if you're worried about the possibility of jobs and if that influenced my decision as what I chose as an engineer, I don't think you have to worry about that too much. Like I think all engineering, you'll be able to find a job. If you want one super, super easy, everyone's always asking for like computer engineering, but no matter what you pick, you'll have opportunity, don't worry.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember what Abraham said. This is our major for 4 years. In the next 20 years, who knows where we'll be? 9 times out of 10, Abraham and I might be sitting across from the same table in the same position, and he's multidisciplinary and I'm industrial. So again, it really is not a determining factor of what you're going to do in the future. And even if you're not interested in it, like me, I chose to do marketing. My dad questioned me every single day why I had a marketing internship as an industrial engineer. But I wanted to just explore and do something different. And being able to have those opportunities, I don't think is influenced by your specific degree. So yeah. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, so this was about I saw an Instagram account called Dear Purdue, and actually my mom told me about it, and it kind of discouraged me at first because this a similar thing happened at my own school. Um, so how have you guys like what's it been since that happened, and what have been your experiences?
I have not seen this Instagram page. Have you guys? You said it's called Dear Purdue.
It's called Black at Purdue.
Oh, he said Black at Purdue. Oh,
Sorry, I forgot the name of it.
so I did have a question on there, and I'm glad you kind of are challenging us there. And we want to be transparent with you because at the end of the day, one thing we have to acknowledge is that Purdue University is a predominantly white institution. Less than 50 years ago, minority students were not allowed to stay on campus. They actually had to go across the bridge and go home before 6 p.m. My mom is 56 years old. So if my mom went to Purdue, I know for a fact that, you know, she would have been subject to those kinds of things. It's important to understand that there's a lot going on in the world, and there are a lot of changes that we're working towards. Purdue may or may not be a leader of a progressive change, especially when it comes to minorities, but they're working towards that. It's taking us students to have to put in extra work and put ourselves out there to request certain things and bring certain things to the attention of our administrators to ensure that, you know, they're fostering an environment where we want to be here. Now, blatant racism, I will not say has not been prevalent at Purdue. It has happened. And a lot of us, I'm sure, can speak to certain experiences, either with Purdue law enforcement, our peers, you know, just general staff. But it's a matter of what are we doing about it? So there's a lot of organizations, a lot of leaders on this campus who have put together not only coalitions, but even boards of students, minority students, to work together to promote a more inclusive environment. So like for myself, I am a committee director, like I said, of diversity and inclusion for Purdue Student Gov, and that is exactly what we do. We work with the DNI office, we work with the Vice President's Office of Ethics and Compliance to ensure that there's sensitivity and diversity training to support our minority students. But a lot of these problems don't come to light because nobody is speaking up. And so as we're being an advocate, it's important to continue to support us. So even when you do come here, if you do come here, hopefully you will not let Black at Purdue be the thing to stop you from coming here. You will get to be a part of this change and really understand and get to teach other people the value of diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean like that the thing was stopping me from coming. I just meant like the stories I was reading. I just felt like I wanted to know where it was going. But thank you.
Oh yeah, and I definitely recommend y'all to get involved in some form of organization that speaks directly to the change that Najma is talking about that we're trying to bring. Freshman year, I got involved with Spark because it was right after the election, and things are running hot. So I got involved with Spark, and one of the things that I was able to have a direct hand in was the reinstatement of our diversity and inclusion provost position. So we fought the administration for that, and we're actually able to get what we're asking for. And I participated in the interview process for the person who ultimately ended up coming on board. Well, if you come to campus, you'll probably get an email from him someday. So yeah, so definitely make sure to get involved. Speak your mind. There will always be people wanting to learn about your experience, wanting to learn about how we can make Purdue better because we're going there. It is our school. We want to foster an environment for everyone, for people who are already there and for people who might be coming in. So definitely get involved wherever you can.
And I think that there are a lot of support groups on campus that you will come to find outside of just your friends. You know, I've heard of like group me's that are for, you know, minority students pursuing social justice. I've heard of group me's that are support groups for Muslim students on this campus, and et cetera. So there's definitely a lot of groups that you can, you know, subject yourself to be a part of. to make sure that you have the necessary support. And one thing about it is that the MEP office is there for these specific reasons. I feel comfortable enough to go into Mr. Williams's office, you know, Ms. Booth's office, who is the director of MEP, and talk to her about any kind of racial discrimination or pressure that I'm feeling solely based on my race. So there's definitely resources there for you to utilize, but I think one thing that we need to understand that it is a work in progress and it is a lot of work, and it sucks that it happens to fall on the hands of the students to ask certain things and to put things in place to help promote diversity and inclusion. But we're definitely working hard, and we're working hard for students like yourself so that when you get here, you know that someone did fight for you and fight for your place here. So I hope for those of you on the phone, when you guys come here, you will continue that march towards, you know, you get my point. Any other questions?
Actually, I wanted to apologize myself and just die in the middle of the question, but I will try to remake the question. All right. So the question was like, for instance, aerospace engineering has more opportunities than mechanical engineering, and I'm doing I'm doing mechanical engineering. Do you think that the fact of there is more opportunities in aerospace engineering can be a factor for me to change my major?
I think directly no. I wouldn't necessarily advise you to think about to change your major to aero just because you think, oh, there's this cool opportunity in that for I mean at an aero company. There are a lot of MEs, mechanical engineers, who work in the aerospace industry. There are people of all majors who work in the aerospace industry. So you might see an aerospace job that you didn't think that you'd be able to do as an ME, but you might get hired for because of your ME experience. So what you might do instead of changing your whole major to aerospace, you might switch out some of your ME courses for aero courses if you feel like they particularly cover that job, because there will be part of your curriculum in ME that will require you to take non-ME courses. So those ME courses can then be aero, and that can directly tie into whatever job that you want. So I wouldn't say that, oh, change your major because you're like, oh, the aerospace industry has more opportunity. I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah, to go off what Abraham just said, like for the answer to the question, like it can be, but it shouldn't be, because like, especially for me, just being a mechanical engineer, I know that like engineering is so broad, and so although maybe a job in the aerospace department is like really interesting to me, but I know personally that most job postings and most industry companies, they're not specifically looking for either like a mechanical engineer or aerospace engineer. They're looking for a really strong candidate where they have really strong skills in either technical or interpersonal. And so those are the things they need to start building, and those are the things you need to start like working on. Is maybe something in aerospace, right? You want to actually develop that skill, so maybe you'll like go online and find like a like an online class that works on that skill, and then you can put it on your resume so that whenever that company looks at your resume, even though you're a mechanical engineer, you have the skill that they're looking for. So then they're like, oh, okay, it doesn't really matter what discipline you are, because you have the skills that we're looking for and we want you. So that type of stuff.
Yeah, and once you become a freshman and you start applying to jobs, you'll see that on the job postings, a lot of job postings will have several majors listed, and then they will have something like, or any related field. So it's, at the end of the day, it might not come to like, oh my God, I have to have that specific major to have that specific job. You have to make sure that your major is something that you're interested in beyond, I guess, beyond more of a job. Because you're not just going to school to get a job afterwards. You want a job, but you also want to learn more about something that you're maybe passionate about and stuff like that. So
Thank you.
Awesome. Are there any other questions from the audience? If not, I do have a question for our panelists. I'm curious to know what you guys' opinion is on leadership and whether or not freshmen can have or pursue leadership opportunities, and how this has pretty much changed the trajectory or you being able to, you know, succeed at Purdue.
Yeah, I think freshmen definitely have the opportunity to be leaders. I work with a freshman right now since I'm a boiler mentor who's leading an EPICS project. This is first semester here. So the opportunity is there if you want it, and you can handle it. They're not going to give you more than you can handle. It's not like they're going to give you a leadership, position, and then tell you to do things you've never done before that you have no idea how to, figure out. The opportunity is there for you.
Yeah, and within student organizations themselves, like you can definitely go for a leadership position. There will most likely be whoever was in your position beforehand might not have graduated, or they might even have graduated, but there will still be a resource for you. Because I know when I took on the chair position for NSB, the chair before me definitely helped me, left me a lot of useful documents and stuff like that about how I could be better at my job. And I think that when you go talk to a company, I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing a leadership position just because you want to get a job, because again, that shouldn't be your goal here. But like being in a leadership position gives you like a broad view of perhaps how the organization functions as a whole, and you might even have an idea of how to better the organization itself. So that that can directly translate into your potential internship, because you're having to interact with a lot of people who might have different goals than you, a lot of people who are definitely different from you. So, but then you still have that goal, those objectives, who are your internship objectives that you're striving towards. So there are parallels between them, but yeah, definitely go for leadership positions. There will be so many people there to support you, to root for you and stuff like that, and you'll have a blast doing it.
Yeah, for me, my second semester freshman year, I was the secretary for MIAS, which is Latinos in Science and Engineering. And so although due to COVID, it was sort of cut short, but I still had a really, really good time actually, being a part of like the executive board meetings and like learning so much about what it takes to like actually run a student organization. And so those are some of the skills that I actually learned and sort of learned to like respect and admire, and just sort of trying to see how important leadership really is, especially for freshmen sort of getting started, because you don't have to be like a super like vocal person. You can still lead by example, and you can do that every day by just whether that be in a project or a group with like one of your engineering projects, and you can just sort of continue to work hard, and that's still in my eyes leadership. And so either whether you want to do it in a vocal manner or just a silent manner, leadership skills are definitely something that's really, really important.
Yeah, and not all leadership positions will require you to give speeches or stand in front of a group of people. My work as a conference planning chair was very much behind the scenes, because we were planning conferences and planning Purdue's attendance to different conferences. So a lot of those roles are behind the scenes too. So.
I would say to just piggyback off of what Alan said. So for my freshman year, I did EPICS as well, and I was the project manager for my group. So it was a bit scary because I've never had that leadership role before, but I would say that just try to like go above and beyond when it comes to leadership. You never know like what you're good at and what you're not good at. Sometimes like I felt like EPICS like helped me a lot, because like now that I'm the president of my own organization, like I know how to run meetings, I know how to talk to advisors. I know how to schedule meetings. Like I know how to do a lot of things. So just being on an e-board actually helps you and organizes when it comes to certain organizations. So I felt like you can always gain leadership without anything that you do. So I would say go for it. And when it comes to organizations, try to do leadership as much as possible.
Awesome. All right. My next question for you guys is, how do you feel like MEP has supported your endeavors at Purdue, both academically, professionally, and from a leadership standpoint?
I mean, academically, there is this class, this physics class, Physics 172, that a lot of y'all might end up taking. If it wasn't for the MEP tutors, I'm not sure I would have made it past Physics 172. But I ended up, like, my tutors were so great that I ended up taking like 2 additional physics classes after that one. So definitely use your MEP tutors wisely, because they're there to help you and stuff like that. And on the, I guess, professional side, helping me with my resume. I remember someone that we used to have work at MEP who no longer works there. Dr. Sanchez, I took my resume to her. It was a resume that I was super proud of. And then she was like, okay, I'll get back to you in 10 minutes. And she took her red pen and my resume was bleeding after when she gave it back to me. It was bleeding. And then she was like, here's what you have to do, here's what you have to do. And it was like the day before the career fair. And I was able to make the changes that she asked, and I went to the career fair. And I mean, that is definitely one of the reasons that I was able to get an internship my freshman year. And I know a lot of people, a lot of freshmen try and get internships their freshman year. So definitely use all the resources there. We're always hanging out at MEP, so stop by whenever you can. If you're tired from a class and you want to vent, come vent. Someone will probably want to vent with you too. So definitely, definitely use all of what MEP has to offer. We're here for you.
I would say MEP gave me Nesby, which Nesby gave me Najma. So Najma is actually my mentor for Nesby. So when it comes to organization, classes, anything of that nature, I always blow up Najma's phone. She can testify to that. But when it comes to me like picking classes, if I don't know like what type of class that I should pick, I know IE and civil engineering classes are somewhat similar. So like I'll always go to Najma and ask her for like help. She actually made my resume bleed too, because she looked at my resume. She helped me with my cover letter. So I would say like, you know, find a mentor in MEP or NSBE, which is National Society of Black Engineers. So try to like find people that will actually like help you. Also, Physics 172, I had to take that class as well. It was good for me. So I'm sorry, Abraham, it was bad for you, but it was good for me though. So I would say, you know, just try to find a mentor who can like help guide you, because they know what they're doing. They've been here longer. So I don't know where I would probably be without Najma if she didn't become my mentor. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely to go off what Jay just said is definitely the mentor aspect of MEP, and just like everybody there wants to succeed and they want you to succeed as well. And so you can just go to anybody there and just ask for help, and then they will be more than willing to actually help you in whatever you want to do. And so just having that, you know, outlet to where just having that type of community where you can go to a place, ask anybody there, and they'll try to help you as much as they can, which is something that's really helpful and really appreciative.
And for those of you who are coming so far away, or who might be more than, you know, an hour away from home, it's definitely has served as like a family for me. I came in at a very awkward time. So I started at Purdue in the spring after my freshman year. So I came in as a transfer. So I didn't really have any freshman class or boot camp peers that I could really bond with and get to know. So I looked up MEP and I just stopped by one day and I set up a meeting with Miss Booth and I just introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm Najma. I'm new here. You know, I'm pursuing industrial engineering, blah, blah, blah. At the time, Dr. Dickerson was also here. I set up a meeting with him and I just talked to him. And from that point on, they never forgot about me. When it came to panels, you know, volunteering, even scholarships, they just never forgot about me. And it really has forced me to give back to MEP and participate in programs like me being a mentor for Jaden, et cetera. So it definitely has shown me the value in building those connections that I'm sure a lot of you are concerned about building, especially since it's a very virtual world right now. I think MEP still has done a great job of bringing us together and making sure that we are okay. And Ms. Booth, pre-COVID, always invites people to her house for food. So yeah, good food. Awesome. So I know we have about like seven more minutes left. I just really wanted to open the floor back up to our participants to answer or ask any questions that you have pertaining to anything. I know on this guide, I have questions surrounding housing as well as what food is like on campus. So if no one asks a specific question, panelists, if you could talk about maybe what are some of the decisions you made to pick your specific dorm? Do you feel like living in a specific dorm makes a difference, especially for your first year? And what's the food like? Are you surviving, or is it just kind of like it's actually really good?
Okay, I'll go. So I just moved off campus last semester. So like I was surrounded by like two like dorms that had food courts in them. So I was in First Street, but I was in front of like Earhart, which like has like the stir fry, and then Hillenbrand is right there, which has like the wings and like, you know, like cookies and all that. And then if you walk a little bit down the way, Wiley's right there. So like the food is actually really good. I'm a tour guide, so I have to like, this is like a script of mine, but like I have to like walk around like campus and like tell people like what's good and what's not good at Purdue. But like those two that I just named, oh, and Ford with the pizza. Yeah, that's good too. But the food's pretty good here, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, the food's pretty great. And my freshman year, I was in a learning community. So that ended up, I guess, directing where I ended up living. I only stayed there for a year. I met some great people that I'm still friends with till this day. Like my core friend group is from, they all lived on my floor. And then I ended up moving, ultimately moving off campus. I think I think Purdue is one of the few schools that a lot of students end up staying on campus after their freshman year. You're not required to live on campus at all during your time here, but so many people even graduate from dorms and stuff like that because the dorm life can be so convenient, and so can living off campus. So it just depends on what you like, what you are as a person.
All right, well, just to round out, my last question for you guys is, what do you do for fun? What do you guys do outside of school, outside of organizations? What do you do at Purdue?
I play tennis at times, which at first started because I didn't know how to play tennis, but I took 3 tennis classes here at Purdue. There are 1 credit hour courses, so if you need a 1 credit hour course where you can also have fun, I suggest taking tennis. So that is what I sometimes do in my free time, and then hang out with my friends. Since I live off campus, I am able to hang out with my friends when it's warm out, just walk out to a park and do something like that, stay out in the sun. And there are so many places to eat off campus. Down in Chauncey, you'll see it when you get here, and sometimes in Lafayette, the next town over. So go out and have fun with your friends. There's be with your friends and have fun. Like you're gonna love it. You should definitely come here. You're gonna love it.
I think it's fair to say that usually in places where you think that there's nothing to do is where you'll find the most to do. And all I want to say is that you'll figure it out. You'll be so bored one day where you will find something to do, and you will have the friends to do it with. So thank you, Abraham, for that answer. I know we have about 3 more minutes. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to pass it back to Mr. Williams. I just wanted to give a virtual round of applause to our panelists, Alan, Diego, Jade, and Abraham. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. And I know that some of us are more than willing for you guys to reach out to us. So expect an email from Mr. Williams with our information. And if you guys have any questions, or you just want to chat, or maybe you want to ask a more personal question that you didn't feel comfortable asking on this panel, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Najma, and thank you, panelists. You guys were great. I would like to ask each of the panelists to go in the chat and put your name and email address, because it may be a little difficult for me to hit all these folks up because I don't have full names. So if you guys would put your name and your email address, maybe your major if you'd like, in the chat, I think it'll make it easier for our students because you might have been blessed by one of these awesome personalities and say, oh, I would like to ask them other questions. Now, in the audience today, we have the director of MEP, and today she won a prestigious award, had to go down to Indy, and we hope that all went really well. We're so proud of her. And so we're going to close today just so you can have a chance to meet this awesome, awesome person, Mrs. Virginia Womack.
I was trying to sneak out. So good to see everyone. Thank you, Najma. You've always been amazing since I met you. I really appreciate your free spirit. Good to see Diego and Abe and all the students. Jade, I've seen you around, but I don't think we've met. I like to get to know you too. You know, we want to know everyone. I know this is not the time, but the office is open. And when Najma came by, we decided I should have a virtual office so that if anybody wants to just drop in, you know, you can do that. So I'll get with Derek and we'll work that out in case you need to chat about something. This is a very stressful time. It's not easy to navigate, especially with virtual classes. So we're real sensitive to that. And I've already had a student reach out because they were really struggling with relationships with the teacher. So we're here, we're in the background. But to Jay's point, you have NSBE, you have MIAS, you have SHIP, you have organizations, and students will keep it real. You know, MEP will tell you what, you know, the official answer to certain questions, and we can get real too, especially when it's a need to do that. But the students look out for each other. They hold each other accountable. Students won't even let you drop out. If you do, they'll follow you home and knock on your door, find out what's going on. And that's what makes family work. You need people to care about you because sometimes you're in a place where you feel like nobody sees you. And I love the way the community here sees each other and reaches out. And if they can't reach out, they may come to me and ask me, Ms. Booth, I don't know what's up, but such and such, I don't know. It's not looking good. And, you know, it gives me a chance to reach out too. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Mr. Williams, for all that you're doing. And I'm not going to hold you long. I have a tendency to ramble, and I'll go on and change stories. And next thing you know, we'll be talking about snow in Seattle or some crazy mess. So I'm going to let you go and go to my next meeting. But if you need me, you can contact me directly through MEP or reach out to Mr. Williams, and I will get back with you with any questions you may have. So thanks again. And I'm going to get ready and go. You're on mute, Derek.
All right, well, everyone, wonderful evening. I'll stick around for just a moment or two afterwards in case you have any questions. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you at other MEP Virtual Promise events. At this point, if you've already signed up, you won't have to sign up for additional events. Just show up. See you soon. Good night. Well, thanks, Alan.
No worries. Have a good
You were
night.
great. You sure helped me out. I sure appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Have a good
worries. I
night.
think I might sign up for more.
Yeah, you were good. You were very good.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night and thank you.
Take care.
Bye.